This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the best website for building websites. More on that later.
This is a bit awkward. I have my shirt off. I have always had an issue sort of with my body and showing it on footage, but I told myself after I've been working out for a year or so, I would just make a video about my realistic one-year transformation. So what happens when you work out consistently, do your nutrition consistently, even while you might simultaneously be having the worst year of your life. So this is what I ended up with. I know the lighting isn't great, the sun's just coming in. I have no pump or anything like that. This is just what I look like naturally walking around. I don't know. I think that the biggest transformation was in the arms. My chest needs a lot of work. My abs are just like not good abs in general. They're all like wonky, but I'm fairly happy with a year of being consistent. And I want to talk about what I did right, exactly what I did for my training, exactly what I did for my nutrition. I want to talk about advice that fitness influencers give that I actually don't agree with for beginners, because the first year I sort of went in with like fitness expert advice and it actually bit me in the ass in some ways. And I want to talk about how this has changed my life significantly in ways that I had no idea would actually be the case. So I guess I'll put my shirt on.
I ended up filming the rest of the video outside, but standing shirtless just made me so uncomfortable editing the video. So I want to start off with exactly what I did to get my results, and then I'll tell you how to get better results, essentially. I also know it's incredibly frustrating that I don't have a before picture for this video. Just imagine my body being very flat because I didn't have any muscle essentially. And then I was more skinny than skinny fat, but just like big kind of love handles, but a flat stomach, a very flat chest, really small arms, and now I'm just more filled out. I think the biggest difference is how broad my shoulders look compared to before. I was just skinny. All of my before pictures were on a hard drive that crashed, so. I actually started off with calisthenics like a lot of people would advise. Push-ups, pull-ups, dips, and squats. Initially, I couldn't really even do one pull-up, so going from a dead hang to just pulling myself up was difficult. And then I just watched tutorials on how to progress into doing a good pull-up, a bunch of techniques where you can jump up and hold on and then slowly let yourself down. When it came to push-ups, I didn't realize how far my form off was from doing good push-ups. So as you grow with the calisthenics movements, your form actually improves. And then I moved to Texas, and this is when I got into going to the gym because the weather wasn't as good here, and right down the street was a gym. I started going there consistently, and it was actually really fun. So by this point, I had already developed the habit of working out. That's what made going to the gym a lot easier, but I went from doing calisthenics outside in the beautiful sun to being inside of a gym, and it actually was a pretty interesting environment. The biggest difference is when I was outside, I would be working out and then I'd just be walking around because I'm outside. What can I really do? I'm not sitting on a bench. With calisthenics, you're always sort of up. At least I was in my environment. So I actually felt like I was losing weight a bit faster doing calisthenics because of that. And after I did the gym for a few months, I went back into calisthenics and did the gym. So I was just doing both. Whenever the weather was good, I would prefer calisthenics. Now, overall, which one do I actually think is the best? The truth is, I felt like I saw almost like by far more results doing calisthenics. A lot of the workouts are way more compounding, so you're actually hitting a lot of muscles by doing a pull-up. And I actually feel like this makes sense because when you do these, it's just harder. Like doing a pull-up initially takes time to learn one. So it's just a more technically difficult exercise, and then doing good push-ups and doing a good amount of them and then adding weight, it's just kind of harder. In the gym, everything is very targeted. So I would do workouts that I see all the time, like where you hold the two things and you pull down like this. And genuinely, I kind of didn't feel like I was actually hitting anything. I didn't really feel like much was engaged, but I think it was because I'm so used to so much being engaged that going into the gym and hitting specific parts, I actually realized for me overall, for my ultimate targets, this wasn't really my game plan. The truth is, I don't actually care that much about bodybuilding. I have a specific body in mind that I'm trying to obtain, and I'm not really interested in having an attractive body for people in the fitness world. I'm more interested in having what I perceive as an attractive body for maybe like the opposite sex. I have a wife, but I want, I like the idea. My perception of like a solid body is kind of like skinny, but shredded and with muscle. That's sort of like always what I've been interested in. Having like big, bulky type of muscles have never really been my interest. So I think for now on, I'll probably just stick mainly with calisthenics because you can build incredible muscle. And if you look at someone like Chris Heria, he's not necessarily big at all, but man, he is just looking sick, and that's sort of what I'm aiming for in the future. So here are all the things I did wrong. At the beginning, I just went way too hard. I was working out every single day. I was sore every single day, but it was just fun and it got me out of my world. We had pretty much the toughest year of our lives last year. We had 2 family members get diagnosed with a terminal cancer. We had our kid 3 months early, which means we were doing the NICU thing for 2 months. If you talk to any NICU parents, they will tell you that it's the most traumatic thing you can go through, but luckily everything is beautiful and amazing now. And then we moved to Texas, so moving is very difficult from California. And then I decided to basically switch careers. So we did all that in the span of a year. Very difficult year, and I still was able to do all these things. But I will say this, it comes with essentially an ultimate sacrifice. To me, I had to give up sections of my life to implement this. So if you're someone who feels like you have a busy schedule or you have hobbies or whatever, I basically got rid of everything that I felt like was wasting time. And then I basically stopped skateboarding, which was my job. People might think it's like, I make money doing it. So it was a huge sacrifice, essentially giving up the job just to work out because of how good of a headspace it would put me in. So I needed the mental benefits of working out, which is why I did it. And again, at the end of this video, I will talk about all of the extra benefits that came just from working out very consistently. Now, quickly, in terms of nutrition, I essentially just tried to up my protein, which is what everybody was saying in terms of gaining muscle. So I just tried to eat 180 grams of protein a day because I'm 180 pounds, which actually was kind of difficult for me at first to figure out. So I had to do some research. I went to caloriecounter.com. I saw how many calories I was burning on a day-to-day basis by basically not doing anything, and it was close to about 2,500 or so. So for me, if I wanted to gain muscle and get bigger, I would have to eat in a slight calorie surplus, which means about 300 extra calories, aiming for 2,800 calories a day. And if I'm trying to lose a bit of fat, which I was at the beginning, I would eat maybe 2,200 calories a day, 300 less. Now, I will say this at the beginning, most people who are getting into fitness are probably trying to lose a little bit of weight. If you're skinny and you hate being skinny, then the solution is just eating more calories than whatever calorie counter tells you need to burn. So the more calories you eat, the more weight you're going to gain. That is just the only way to gain weight. In terms of losing weight, I think most people are going to be like me, where sure, you can eat more to gain more muscle and then eventually maybe cut where you eat in such small calorie, less calories, God, where you start eating less calories. But I actually think this is really difficult because when you are trying to lose weight at the beginning, even though in the long run, eating more calories and gaining muscle is going to make you more muscular and bigger, it's really hard to feel the effects of these small wins when you just look like you're getting fatter. So for me, I had to slim up first before I actually started eating in a calorie surplus, which I kind of realized that I don't really need to. I kind of just need to eat my calories, maybe a very slight calorie surplus. And now I just do a lot of walking and I just do my exercises and I can still see muscle being built while being shredded, essentially. It's just a slower process if you're trying to be like big and bulky. If you want to be big muscle guy, then you have to eat in a calorie surplus and you just can't care about the fact that you're not going to have abs. I kind of went way too hard at the beginning. I was working out all the time, even though I was sore, but the point was, to me, it was more important to build the habit of working out than to optimize my workouts. So I worked out every single day just to build the habit first, and then once I knew that working out wasn't a hard thing for me to go and do, after a few months, it took maybe 3 months for this, then I was like, okay, cool, now I can build an optimal routine. But even then I realized, oh, I don't actually like doing the push, pull, leg split thing that a lot of fitness people talk about. So I just did full body, 3 days, 1 day off, 3 days, 1 day off, because I just enjoyed doing full body. And when I started hitting the gym, I would just do full body, and then the next day I would just hit all different machines and do full body again, because that's what kept it interesting for me. The point is to develop a routine that is interesting for you. If I was like fully optimal and I was like arms, legs, whatever, push, pull, I just wouldn't enjoy the gym. And to me, I am willing to take a little longer to get, super fit than, and honestly, in the year results I made, I'm okay with that. So if I kept this up for a year, I'm just gonna look the way I want to. The worst part for me, and for pretty much anyone, is the nutrition. It is very hard to stay on a consistent diet. Luckily, I like eating the same foods pretty much every single day. I make sure that I'm hitting these calorie targets, or these protein targets as well. But a lot of times I would slip on the protein. I would eat more carbs one day, and then some weeks I would just have like a bad whole week. Like I would eat way too many protein bars as well. This is something you got to keep in mind. If you're buying protein bars to supplement protein in some way, you might eat like 3 or 4 when you get hungry. So to me, when I was trying to lose a little bit of the love handles, I was just hungry. Like I was pretty much just hungry all the time. And one amazing way to satiate hunger that I learned is caffeine. So coffee, unfortunately, maybe drinking 2 or 3 coffees a day if your heart can take it. And then tons of carbonated water. So carbonated water weirdly just kind of kept me full. So if you're trying to satiate that, those do help. But then again, high protein meals typically satiate your hunger as well. I don't know why. Not that I would ever recommend a carnivore diet, but this is one reason people on carnivore diets see significant weight loss, is because they're eating protein, pretty much only protein, and it's hard to hit your calories on protein. This is the same thing with a vegan diet. The reason that people who eat whole food vegan diets, it's hard for them to gain weight is because it's hard to hit the calories when you're basically not eating carbs. Carbs is the easiest way to gain calories, essentially, because bread and pizza and pasta, and they're amazing and they give you tons of calories, and that's also why it's so easy to gain a lot of weight on these foods. I'm going way more into detail than I thought I was. Wow, I've learned a lot of knowledge inadvertently just by having my year. Before we go on, I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Squarespace.
Squarespace's new AI features can essentially create any type of website you want immediately just by filling out a few prompts. And luckily you have award-winning templates to choose from, so you don't need a design background to absolutely build a professional looking website. They also have email campaigns, which is essentially the new best social media that everybody's leaning into. 50,000 email subscribers is way better than even 5 million YouTube subscribers nowadays. When you send something out on emails, everyone who subscribes actually receives it. Now anyone can create an online store and sell out of hundreds of options for merchandise. They work with a third-party website, Printful, that distributes all the orders, that helps you build the website, that even gives you pictures of models wearing your clothing. It's incredible. So now's the best time to create a brand. Last but not least, they have courses. So if you have a specialty and you want to create a paywall in front of it, then you can build all that on the website, upload the videos on the website, and it's just this incredibly easy, cohesive infrastructure for courses now. So if you want to check it out, click the link in the description down below, or go to squarespace.com/JohnHill to get 10% off your first purchase or domain. Thanks so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this video.
The main piece of advice from fitness influencers that I agree with to an extent, but I wouldn't push on a beginner, is form. Every single fitness YouTuber goes on and on about form, having perfect form, the perfect push-up, the perfect pull-up. I would not advise that to someone who is getting into calisthenics, because I just think calisthenics is the best. When you're doing push-ups, you don't really need to worry about doing perfect push-ups at first. The idea of doing the right technique is to try to limit injuries. So when you're doing pull-ups and you're just going hard, you might actually pull something or hurt something. But most people at the beginning, men, woman, anyone, cannot dead hang and then do a really good pull-up and then go all the way down again. What you're going to end up doing at the beginning is you're gonna kind of jump and then pull up, and then you're gonna let yourself down, and then you're not gonna go all the way, you're gonna pull up again. So if you can learn 3 or 4 pull-ups, even like this, where you're not fully extending, that's great. Do that. Do the non-perfect form of the push-ups, the pull-ups, the dips. I think eventually you wanna get really deep in the dips. don't, at the beginning, just kind of do dips. Squats, the same thing. Like if you're just going super hard at the beginning, trying to do these perfect deep squats, you got to learn how to stretch as well. And by the way, in terms of stretching, I actually don't stretch. A lot of the workouts like squats are the stretch in themselves, and the pull-ups and things like you kind of learn as you go, and you'll start watching videos as well. But I also want to give advice on how to stay in the zone with fitness. The one reason I was able to maintain is I essentially changed my life. So again, changed from skateboarding, but then all the content I was consuming was positive. Most of it was about fitness. Most of it was uplifting. Like I essentially changed everything about my life so that I could try to at least go down the avenue of this goal, which actually leads me into, first, this is what I'm gonna do next year in terms of working out. Very simple. And then we'll talk about all the extra benefits I got from sticking to a fitness routine. This year, I am going to try to only focus on calisthenics. I'm sure I'll have days where I get bored and I go to the gym instead, but I'm just gonna focus on pull-ups, bicep curls, try to do more explosive types of pull-ups, hopefully a muscle up, dips, push-ups, but really deep stretch push-ups where my feet are elevated, and then pistol squats. So one-legged squats. These are the main 4 or 5 exercises I'm gonna work on, and then I'm gonna focus on putting on a weight vest and then just doing them with heavier weight. That's it. That's my entire game plan with working out next year. No extra machines, nothing. I will go to the gym when I'm bored, I'm sure. I will probably run on the treadmill a bit just to kind of get my heart rate up. I will walk a ton, but this is all I'm focused on for my next fitness year. And I want to do 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off, full body every single day. That's it. Any expert out there will be like, that is not optimal. I don't care. I've seen results from that. I'm excited to see bigger results from that. And it's just the way I like to work out. I love the deep stretch calisthenics and I want to learn the moves. I'm also a very, very skill-based learner. I like learning skills. And the better and stronger I get in calisthenics, the more I can learn the other skills in calisthenics. I don't actually care to just improve the weight. I am not really competitive in that sense. I am a skill-based athlete. Skateboarding, parkour, calisthenics, those are my favorite things. Now, what are the benefits beyond that? The benefits beyond everything have been mental. My mental game has been unbelievable. It has excelled doing all this stuff. Being into fitness has led me down so many avenues of just excitement and loving life, and it's taken away a lot of the bad habits I had. One bad habit was the way I was doing YouTube videos, the way I was skateboarding, the way I was looking at life, my cynicism, everything had gotten to this horrible, horrible place in the last 4 years, and I just needed to change it up. So changing in general is what created this mountain of positive affirmations in my life, and then also just consuming nothing but positive, uplifting content completely sort of changed my mindset for everything. And I think as a skater, as a YouTuber, it's really easy to lean into the cynical, negative mindset, especially because YouTube and content rewards that. If I made a video saying like, why I hate this, this, and this, people are going to click that way more than why I love this, this, and this. And that's just not the world I want to live in anymore. And one thing I realized about YouTube in general is after building a community and an audience for the last 8 years, I started leaning into only trying to optimize the audience side of it. How many people can I get to watch a video? And it lent me essentially with no one, like no real community at the end of the day, a lot of times. And then I realized, oh man, that's what I want to build again. And that's all I really need. And I would rather have a community of, honestly, a community of 100 people than an audience of 1 million people. I'm not even kidding. Like, you will be more effective in finding your happiness with 100 like-minded individuals than 1 million people who you've made 1 million different types of videos for, and you have this eclectic audience, which is cool, but that's not what I think the aim should be for anymore. If you are on a fitness journey and it's something that you've always wanted to adjust, obviously I am not looking like a fitness influencer, but this is such a good start and I'm excited to see where it goes, but hopefully this video inspires you to at least start now, because it does take some time. You're not gonna look like Arnold Schwarzenegger within a couple of years. I think within 3 years, you can look amazing. I will say even in this 1 year transformation I've had multiple comments in real life about my physicality. People saying, whoa, bro, you look good, like random people, which again, in the video, you're probably desensitized because of the internet, but in real life, it does not take more than a year to have a body that stands out in almost every situation you're in. Unless you're going to the gym every single day, then yeah, you're gonna be desensitized. But average person who sees even what I look like now compliments me. And anyone out there can achieve that within a year and hopefully within less from the information I gave. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, progress daily, and keep killing it.